Aloha, my name is Ezekiel Quintana. I'm a Kupu AmeriCorps service member and the Conservation Leadership Development Program here at Limuhuli Garden and Preserve of the National Tropical Botanical Garden. I work in the horticulture department with our native Hawaiian plants, our canoe plants, and some of our ornamentals as well. Why grow ʻaʻaliʻi? Why not is probably the thing to start with. It's kind of a rock star plant in our forests and in our gardens. It's really beautiful. This is a small one. If it's grown in full sun, they'll be small shrubs. If they're grown in shade, they can be really large trees or tall trees. They tend not to spread out too much, but they are an excellent first plant for many people in their gardens because they're really resilient. They can handle wet conditions, dry conditions. They can handle pruning. If you really wanted to, you can move it around your yard in a pot for a really long time before deciding where you wanted to end up putting it. But it's indigenous to Hawaii, so we always want to make sure that when we're planting plants in our garden, they're appropriate, and being native to this place makes it extra appropriate. They are good at attracting pollinators. They're beautiful for lei. There's medicinal uses. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say other than they're an excellent plant. Depending on what size you end up getting your plant at, if you're purchasing one, most likely it'll be something more like this. If it's smaller, you can keep it in the pot for a while and up pot it until it gets to a larger size. That'll just increase its chances of success once you get it in the ground. But in terms of deciding where you want to put it, again, if it's in full sun, it can have a small tree to shrub habit depending on how you decide to prune it, which you can prune it pretty heavily and it'll handle it. It's a great accent feature. If you have a series of them in a row, you can make a small hedge. If you plant it in amongst other trees, it'll grow tall with relatively small canopy. I recommend planting it somewhere with good drainage. It can tolerate wet feet to a degree, but generally it's going to prefer to be somewhere a little drier, or at least with good drainage. ʻAʻaliʻi can handle shade, but it loves full sun. And the more sun it has, the happier it'll grow, and the sooner you'll get the beautiful seed pods that these are known for. So water needs for ʻaʻaliʻi, not much. They are really tolerant of low water conditions. Essentially, if you have it planted in among other plants, it can take whatever the other plants are taking as well, in terms of not being overwatered, as long as there's good drainage. But if you live somewhere that's dry and that you don't have consistent irrigation, in the long run, you don't need to worry about this plant. In the short term, when you plant it, you always want to make sure that when you plant plants, they get the care that they need to get established. So watering every other day, just until the soil is relatively saturated. Again, we're looking for good drainage. We don't want this plant to sit in wet ground, but watering every other day. If it seems like it's getting burnt edges or starting to wilt, then we want to make sure we increase that watering. But they're really hardy plants. As long as you aren't completely neglectful, they'll probably do really well. So long-term care for ʻaʻaliʻi, the main thing to look out for is sucking insects. So different kinds of scales or thrips. Ants like to farm on these, so you want to just keep an eye on it. What we've been finding an issue with lately is the lobate lac scale, which is a recently emerging pest in our garden. But it's these small black to maroonish hard scales that will grow on the plant, and it sucks the juices out of the plant. So you just want to make sure that when you see those, address it quickly. If you only have a couple of plants, you can just hand remove them, gently crush them or scrape them off the bark. If you have a large infestation, then you can look into some pest control options that include things like horticultural soap, neem, or diatomaceous earth, which we use. The diatomaceous earth is a really good option if you're in a dry area. It's really effective and really cheap and safe for you and your plants. As far as other kinds of care, ʻaʻaliʻi takes really well to pruning, but you don't want to over prune anything, so make sure that when you're considering the shape that you want your tree to go, you just gently guide it in that direction. Don't wait until it's grown all large and then hack away until you have the shape you want. Just start to slowly consider what you want it to look like as you go. So ʻaʻaliʻi can be male or female, which means that you can end up with these small kind of indiscreet flowers that aren't super flashy. The tree itself is really beautiful and its leaves kind of turn this nice like rusty red as it gets older, that make it a really attractive tree even without flowers. And the female plants will have the seed pods, the fruit that hold the small seeds that these are grown from. You can actually see some of them here. Real papery. When they're ripening, they go from green and then can be a variety of colors from pink to red, some deep, deep purple. And those are those really showy ones that most people are really looking to have that are really beautiful in lay. So depending on whether your tree is male or female, you might end up with one that has those, that presents those seed pods or not. There is a possibility to also have a bisexual one or a hermaphroditic one that shows both.